Do you trust your family, or just believe you do? Because the night my son buried me, I realized trust is just a slow poison. If this story chills you even a little, subscribe now. Because some truths don't come twice. And tell me this in the comments. If your own child betrayed you for money, would you forgive them? I remember the smell first. Not death. Not fear. Just damp earth. Heavy. Silent. Final. I couldn't move. I couldn't see. But I could hear something above me. Footsteps. My son's voice. Calm. Cold. Controlled. Make sure it looks natural. That's what he said. Natural. Like a father just died. Not murdered. Not erased. Just gone. My chest tightened. Not from the weight above me, but from the realization. He wasn't panicking. He wasn't crying. He wasn't even hesitating. This was planned. Carefully. Perfectly. And I was never meant to wake up. But I did. Barely. Slow breaths. Tiny movements. Pain crawling through every nerve. I didn't scream. I didn't fight. Because in that moment, something inside me changed. I didn't want to survive. I wanted to understand. Why would my own son bury me alive? And more importantly, what had I missed? I always thought I raised him right. Daniel. My only son. My pride. My legacy. Or so I believed. He used to hold my hand when crossing the street. Used to wait for me at the door every evening. Used to say, "I'll take care of you when you're old." Funny how promises age faster than people. After my wife died, it was just us. I worked harder. Gave him everything I didn't have. Best school. Best life. No limits. But somewhere along the way, he stopped looking at me like a father. And started looking at me like an obstacle. It began with small things. Disrespect hidden in jokes. Decisions made without asking. Late nights. New friends. Expensive habits. I noticed. Of course I noticed. But I stayed silent. Because love makes you patient. And patience makes you blind. Then came the documents. Business transfers. Property discussions. He pushed often. Too often. Just sign it, Dad. It's easier this way. Easier for who? I delayed. Questioned. Observed. And that's when I saw it. The shift. Warmth turned into calculation. Concern turned into pressure. And pressure turned into something darker. I didn't confront him. I didn't argue. Because I had already started planning. Not against him. But for the truth. What I didn't know was that he had already started planning too. And his version ended with me underground. The day it happened felt normal. Too normal. That should have been my first warning. Daniel was unusually calm. Polite. Even caring. "Let's go out tonight, Dad." We hadn't done that in months. I agreed. Because sometimes, you want to believe things are getting better. Dinner was quiet. Controlled. He watched me more than he spoke. Like he was memorizing something. Or confirming something. On the way back, he insisted on driving. Another small detail. Another quiet decision. We didn't go home. Not immediately. "Shortcut," he said. The road turned empty. Dark. Unfamiliar. I didn't question it. That was my mistake. The car stopped. Engine off. Silence. Then, voices. Not just his. Others. Doors opening. Hands grabbing. Everything moved fast after that. Too fast to react. Too fast to resist. A sharp pain. Then darkness. Not death. Just absence. When I came back, I was already under. Buried. Still. Forgotten. Except I wasn't forgotten. I was removed. And that difference would become my weapon. Because as my breath struggled in the darkness, one thought stayed clear. He didn't just want my money. He wanted a clean ending. And I wasn't going to give him that. Survival is not loud. It's not heroic. It's quiet. Ugly. Desperate. I don't remember how long I stayed there. Minutes. Hours. Maybe more. Time doesn't exist when you're counting breaths. But something saved me. Not strength. Not luck. Preparation. Months before that night, I had started suspecting Daniel. So I made changes. Small ones. Invisible ones. I always carried something with me. A medical emergency capsule. Oxygen support. Short term. Limited. But enough. Not to live. Just to delay death. And sometimes, delay is all you need. My body was weak. My mind was fading. But I didn't panic. Because panic kills faster than suffocation. I moved slowly. Carefully. Fighting the weight. Fighting the darkness. Until finally. Air. Cold. Sharp. Real. I didn't shout. I didn't run. I disappeared. Because the moment I stepped out, I understood everything. He would already be mourning me. Publicly. Convincingly. Legally. My death would be documented. My assets, transferred. My existence, erased. So I let him believe it. I became a ghost. Not out of fear. But strategy. Because revenge is not about returning. It's about choosing the perfect moment to be seen. And when I return, I won't be his father. I'll be his ending. I didn't go home. I didn't contact anyone. Because the man they knew was already dead. Instead, I watched. From distance. From shadows. From silence. News spread fast. Tragic passing. Natural causes. Peaceful end. I almost laughed. Peaceful. If only they knew. Daniel played his role perfectly. Tears in public. Respectful words. Controlled grief. He even arranged a funeral. An empty coffin. A full performance. And people believed him. Because people believe what looks real. Not what is real. Days turned into weeks. Weeks into months. And during that time, he changed. Faster than I expected. Confident. Aggressive. Hungry. He took control of everything. Sold assets. Moved money. Expanded business deals. But he made one mistake. He became careless. Power reveals truth faster than pressure. And I was watching everything. Every signature. Every transaction. Every lie. I wasn't angry anymore. Anger is loud. I was calm. Calm is dangerous. Because I wasn't planning revenge. I was building it. Brick by brick. Step by step. Identity by identity. And when I finally stepped back into his world, he wouldn't recognize me. Not as his father. But as someone far worse. Someone patient. Someone precise. Someone who knew exactly where to break him. I returned with a new name. A new face. A new presence. Not hiding. Just, unrecognizable. People don't see what they don't expect. And Daniel never expected me to come back. I entered his world through business. Slowly. Carefully. As an investor. A partner. An opportunity. He welcomed me. Of course he did. Greed opens doors faster than trust. We met for the first time. After my death. He didn't hesitate. Didn't suspect. Didn't feel anything. Just a handshake. Firm. Professional. Empty. Pleasure doing business, he said. I looked into his eyes. The same eyes that once searched for me in a crowd. Now, they saw nothing. And that confirmed everything. He didn't just bury me. He erased me. So I played along. Built trust. Offered deals. Gained influence. And slowly, I moved deeper. Into his company. Into his decisions. Into his control. He started relying on me. Listening to me. Trusting me. The irony was perfect. The son who killed his father was now taking advice from him. Every step was deliberate. Every move was calculated. I wasn't rushing. Because rushed revenge fails. But patient revenge becomes inevitable. And soon, he would start losing things. Not suddenly. Not obviously. But one by one. Until he finally realized something was wrong. And by then, it would already be too late. The first crack was small. Almost invisible. A deal collapsed. Minor loss. Nothing serious. Daniel brushed it off. Then another. A partnership failed. Funds delayed. Confusion grew. Still manageable. Still explainable. But patterns don't lie. And I was creating the pattern. Every move I suggested had a hidden outcome. Every opportunity came with a silent cost. He didn't notice. Because he trusted me. That was his biggest weakness. Trust without understanding. Soon, pressure built. Employees left. Investors questioned. Cash flow tightened. And Daniel started changing again. Calm turned into frustration. Confidence turned into desperation. I watched him carefully. Not as a victim. But as a study. Because I wanted to see at what point guilt appears. But it didn't. Not yet. That surprised me. Even as everything around him started collapsing. He never once looked back. Never once questioned the past. Never once thought about me. That told me something important. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't panic. This was choice. He chose to bury me. And he chose to forget me. So I adjusted my plan. Because I wasn't just destroying his success anymore. I was going to force him to remember. And when he does, that's when the real damage begins. The second phase wasn't about money. It was about truth. I began introducing pieces. Small ones. Controlled ones. Documents resurfacing. Old records. Hidden inconsistencies. Nothing direct. Just enough to create doubt. People started asking questions. Quietly. Carefully. Something doesn't add up. Daniel felt it. Of course he did. Pressure was no longer external. It was internal. He became restless. Paranoid. Suspicious of everyone. Including me. That was expected. That was necessary. Because trust had to break. Completely. One night. He asked me directly. Do you believe everything happens for a reason? I smiled. Only when someone plans it. He didn't like that answer. Good. Because the truth was getting closer. I arranged one final meeting. Private. Controlled. Unavoidable. Everything was ready. Evidence. Records. Proof. Not just of his fraud. But of something bigger. Something darker. Something he never thought would come back. Because the biggest mistake he made was assuming I died alone. But I wasn't the only one watching that night. And someone else had been waiting too. For the right moment. To speak. He walked into the room confident. But not calm. That confidence was cracking. I could see it. Feel it. Control slipping, slowly. I closed the door. Locked it. Silence filled the space. Then I placed the file on the table. He looked at it. Didn't touch it. Open it, I said. He hesitated. That was new. Very new. Finally, he opened it. Photos. Records. Witness statements. His face changed. Not fear. Recognition. That's when it hit him. Not fully. But enough. This isn't possible. I stepped closer. Slow. Measured. You said the same thing that night. He froze. His eyes searched my face. My voice. My presence. And then. It happened. The moment I waited for. Dad. Not loud. Not certain. But real. I didn't smile. I didn't react. Because this wasn't emotional. This was precise. You didn't just bury me, I said quietly. You buried your future. He stepped back. Shaking now. Finally. Guilt arrived. But too late. Because everything was already in motion. Legal action. Financial collapse. Public exposure. And there was one more truth. One final twist. He didn't know yet. But he was about to. I wasn't the only one he tried to erase. That night. There was another witness. Someone he didn't see. Someone he underestimated. My lawyer. He had been tracking everything. Recording everything. Waiting. Just like me. The difference? He never disappeared. So while Daniel was busy building his empire, we were building his downfall. Legally. Completely. Irreversibly. The case went public. Not as a scandal. But as a revelation. Fraud. Attempted murder. Identity manipulation. Everything exposed. Piece by piece. Proof by proof. Daniel didn't fight. He couldn't. Because for the first time, he had no control. No plan. No escape. Just consequences. I didn't visit him. I didn't need to. Closure doesn't require presence. It requires truth. And the truth was finally louder than his lies. People asked me later, "Do you forgive him?" I gave them the only honest answer. I didn't come back for forgiveness. I paused. Then added quietly, I came back for truth. Because revenge isn't about destruction. It's about balance. And sometimes, the most powerful revenge is simply surviving long enough to be heard. And in the end, silence didn't bury me. It revealed him.